Pre-recorded in front of a stock footage studio audience, it's Talk of the Imperiate.
Hello gamers, it's another episode of Talk of the Imperiate, the show we kind of just throw together when there's scheduling stuff but we gotta fill a slot in anyway. Welcome, this is Character Corner Part 2, this time with the other half of our G4. Give it up for Nathaniel, who plays Ozek, and Max, who plays Atticus. All right, so format is like before. Back and forth with questions. I, the GM, get to ask them about insights into their characters, into the inner workings of their mental machinations, and they in turn get to come into my twisted mind and ask dumb questions about the world building, the NPCs, the lore, the themes, all that good stuff. So I'm going to kick it off, and just with the biggest broad strokes basic question. When coming up with your characters, what was kind of the idea you had for them? And then how has that idea evolved over the course of the campaign? Because as of filming this, we are part 1 through wrapping the season finale here. So Nathaniel, you want to take it first?
Yeah, whenever I am going to be at a new table or with a new group of people, I always like to show up with a character that I feel like is good at being around other people's characters and making them interesting both in roleplay and in the game. Now, in D&D, I feel like the current best class to do that in reliably is a cleric, because clerics are just generally good at making everyone else not be dead, but also making everyone else feel better in combat because they can buff you or remove debuffs off of you. But also outside of combat, people tend to view a cleric, even people who don't know very much about D&D, as kind of like the group, like parent. So having a character who's older or who gives off kind of that like bumbling dad energy is an easy way for people in the group to like associate with you, and oftentimes for you to be able to like see what people's characters are like and approach things at a slower pace and have it feel natural.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'm I'm like, I love that answer because I'm like the exact opposite. I love to make a character who is like kind of difficult to be around, but proves themselves to be necessary mechanically wise. So I mean, I think Atticus is kind of the perfect example of that. Like this he was kind of horrible in the beginning, he was like rich kid who was like still kind of obsessed with being rich, very into himself and his personal needs, huge chip on his shoulder, and judged every character by judged every book by their cover. And watching his character kind of grow past that into somebody who cares so deeply about people that he's literally descending into madness has been really fun to play. But yeah, when I am approaching a character, I really like to kind of provide a character that people can kind of poke fun at, so that if other people, I don't know how other players are, especially if I don't know the new players, they know that I am somebody they can joke with and kind of riff off of. And also, if other characters don't want to be joked at like that, they have somebody that they can kind of kick around, which is, because I'm going to do it too. So, God, I loved making Atticus suck.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I guess, Nathaniel, kind of the second half of that question. Like, so because you came in with that vision for Ozek, have you felt Ozek has like evolved a little bit at all over time, or have you played him differently? Because I know the past couple of sessions, there's been a very distinctive turn, which has been fun.
Well, I think it's less and more of a distinctive turn and more of like Ozek feeling comfortable doing things around the group. Because I think something we've hinted at a lot, and I know that we've talked about interpersonally with backstory stuff, is that Ozek has a very difficult past as a character, which hasn't fully come up. And I feel like he as a person is very careful about opening up around other folks because he's afraid that people might ask questions or learn things about the kind of person that he used to be that he's trying to move past. And so him being a bit more open, a bit more silly, being willing to do things like, oh, I'm going to go pretend to be someone else even though I don't know anything about that. is him feeling supported by the group in a way where he feels like he's trusted a bit more. And I do feel like one of his big things that he's struggling with is this idea of like, I kind of messed up with doing the interrogation stuff and doing the disguising of myself, and he feels really guilty about that. So he's carrying a lot of that guilt into this finale. And that's something I'm interested in seeing where that takes us, depending on what happens.
Yeah, or writing notes, because we haven't filmed that part yet. All right, sweet. All right, so balls in both your courts. We can go Max, then Nathaniel. You can throw questions about me, either about style, specific lore building bits. I'll try and keep it spoiler free, but I'll also like throw out some mild spoilers if we want to make it interesting here.
Yeah. What's up with the vampires?
I was obsessed with them. From?
Yeah, what was that concept? I really like it. I'm just like, and also like the mists area made me so desperate to travel, but that's literally why I wrote in my character being scared of the ocean, so that I wouldn't be tempted to like be like, we should just leave and check it out.
Just go somewhere else.
But yeah, kind of what was going on.
Yeah, I wanted some kind of secondary antagonistic force, something that comes in and suddenly has this disruptive presence that, first of all, is kind of a prompt to have this gala thing happen. So it's like, oh, the person throwing this gala is this new outsider, but they're very powerful. And so, vampires, Curse of Strahd, they work best with that trope of being, very aristocratic, but also just in terms of what can they do, both in terms of mythology and the pop culture tropes, and then the actual like mechanics in the D&D rules. Gives you a lot to play with in terms of like all these mists coming in. So then when the reveal is that, oh, this mysterious mists are vampires, it's like, oh, like that makes sense, because I guess that's a thing that some versions of the vampire mythos can do, and it's something that the vampire stat-wise can do. So that was part of it as well. And then also having a way, it's like, okay, it's going to have some kind of mobile castle. It's a very vampire thing to do anyway. So it's all of these.
Well, I've seen Castlevania.
Yeah. So exactly. So it's all of these things that I wanted to have happen. It's like, all right, some mist base oogie boogie that can move in and match up against this big powerful pirate fleet. Also do this gala and fulfill this aristocratic trope and everything. And so the vampires just like niche right into it. It's like, what it's going to be? I don't want to do vampires again, because in my home games I have done like, vampire gala.
Yeah, of course.
But it's like, but it's a home game. This is a completely different audience, so I can kind of get away with, refurbing some of the ideas. So that's why vampires.
Well, I mean, building off of that, I guess, it seems like I was really surprised when we had this whole vampire gala thing going on, specifically because the vampires feel like they are a threat that the Imperiate is concerned about. Is there a reason the Imperiate simply doesn't just use their big sky laser to shoot the vampire castle when it comes close to the island?
That is a good question.
Because they tried to shoot us.
Yes.
We're just 4 dudes in the woods.
Exactly.
Well, we were 5 dudes.
We were
Yes.
We were 5 dudes.
We were 5 dudes in the woods. Rip scrambles the goblin. Whatever his name was.
Oh, that wasn't his name. He just got scrambled.
He got
bad
scrambled
by that
bad,
laser.
that's
Yeah,
true.
He scrambled
I think
now.
it was Zip.
Zip, yeah.
Ooh.
But
well,
like
zip, zap.
Zap.
Sorry.
But that was one thing I'm curious about, is like, why don't they just simply shoot the vampire castle if they're so worried about it?
That is an interesting question, Man, it'd be really weird if the zapping thing were to happen at a later time.
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
Is that a reflex save or like a dexterity save?
It was a dexterity save.
I think I did say reflex save in that early filming. For those who don't know, because technically we've never put up the full episode of the very first, because it was meant to be a screen test.
Yeah.
But then someone behind the thing hit record anyway, and so we have a
recording.
80% of the footage.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the first episode, they break out of this prison cart that's taking them up to the Imperiate command, and as they're fleeing into the woods, the big beam shoots and kind of zaps over them and almost gets them. And
that's bad.
Yeah, and that's been a recurring kind of threat because it's even though it hasn't probably been fired since in terms of this story, like it is referred to by others. I think Archibald name dropped it as well. It's been like this, why hasn't the laser been fired again? This big beam that not only people on the island but other like islands around know about, and that's made it this kind of center of this geopolitical system where everyone's like, look, we've got our different things, but also they're weird, all-powerful wizards who apparently have a giant mountain Death Star thing. Let's trade with them and have like some degree of normal relationships. Yeah. But there's maybe some ambiguity of how this beam works, how this power works, tying into some of the other energy things y'all have been exploring with like the underground, the presence growing, all of that. That stuff is tied together. Like a couple sessions in, I started like thinking and actually planning these things. Although that very first session, I think you were the one who called it out a couple of sessions after that. It's like, Donnie didn't just do it because he thought it was cool, right? And yes, that was it. It's like, I need some big spooky thing to happen to get people running down the mountain.
Sometimes that's what you gotta do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of working post hoc. It's like, okay, how does that fit in the lore? And then how does the presence of that Oogie Boogie superpower affect international relations, at least within the context of this archipelago? It's an archipelago because I don't want to do like a huge global national thing. Yeah. So it keeps the scope fairly narrow.
Yeah. It's like Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly.
Our Kanto region.
Yeah, exactly. You got the different regions. All right. Let's see. Asking y'all's, what was something you kind of had an expectation of your character achieving or accomplishing or just having happen to them in this first season that you expected to happen and maybe it didn't like happen the way you might think it would have? And like it can be a good thing you expect to happen or a bad thing you expected to happen and are relieved.
Oh yeah, I think meeting Atticus's family. It was pretty well known. I think in the first session we kind of got into it, but then like on the sleepover session, the second one, maybe the first one, I don't know. We've had a lot of sleepovers.
Oh, it's episode 5.
Episode 5. Thank you. We kind of discussed that like Atticus's family. Atticus is a tiefling because of a choice that his great grandfather made as an elf. That one person per generation is essentially going to like become a tiefling to offset all this like magical energy through like a weird pact they made. So Atticus is like kind of he was super afraid of his family because he's been ostracized his entire life. He's been well hated, not really, and when they don't hate him actively, they just ignored him. So I think he didn't really have a sense of self. So he just kind of pretended to have a really, like, he kind of was mimicking how his family acted up until he met met the group and he was acting like that. And then through the group, I think it became less of like this terrifying thing and more this like annoying thing he had to go do because he needed to go warn his siblings because he like literally became a bigger person. Not literally, sorry. Metaphorically, he became a bigger person through like his interactions with like Lumi, Ozek, with Lex, not with Gorla. Gorla keeps hitting him. No, I'm kidding. I love Gorla. But yeah, so like when he went up to his family, he had been dreading it because he had assumed that his family was hunting him for a while. That was a big plot twist. So when he showed up and he was just like, oh, right, you guys just kind of don't care about me. And I have so many people now who do. He just was like, oh, well, if you want me to eat shit, you eat shit first. And then he like talked to his sibling. So that was something that I kind of didn't expect from my character.
Yeah.
I really thought he was going to fireball that office. I really thought it was going to be a 1v1 with Dad.
Yeah,
So.
I was going into it, it's like, oh man, is there going to be some combat? And then, first of all, I didn't feel like running into entire combat. That was part of it.
I was like, that would have been bad.
But it's like, okay, I don't want to run in combat. What is a cool narrative, more character-driven bullshit excuse I can pull to justify that? I'm like, well, what if it's more of this type of relationship, where it's more of this like just disdain, just like, you haven't died yet? Why? Kind of thing.
Very.
It's more like treating him as disposable more than treating him as, because like even the hunting thing, the whole hunter thing happened because Durlock, the bounty hunter, didn't know about the family dynamics and thought, oh, hey, this wanted poster guy, or do the voice, oh, this wanted poster guy, that's an Orlock, I heard, but they will pay an even prettier penny for him. And maybe that was kind of true, but maybe not in the way that he thought. So otherwise, like it was kind of up in the air of what their role was going to play. Yeah. So we'll see. It'll be interesting because you went the infiltration route to rescue Flock, and they're all up at the gala upstairs. And so it'll be interesting seeing some of the other characters interact with them without Atticus there.
I mean it. I've been up at night thinking about it. I am so worried because I mean it. Me and Lumi have like a plus. I think I have a +6 right now to my charisma. Mm-hmm. So I was like I have like an extra thing. I don't know. It's like crazy. Like me and the Bard are down sneaking around. Oh my god.
You're also our
so
sneakiest
nervous.
Characters. So.
Yeah, which is I'm really not the sneakiest. I just don't have disadvantage.
Yes. Also, Loy's character Grumthong is also going to be in this session, and he was the one last time he was guest starring. He's like, why don't we just kill her? We should probably kill her. She's going to betray us, right?
Like, that's my sister. And we can talk about it when she wears a side ponytail, which she did.
Which, yes, the side ponytail happened. You can never say those things around me because, of course, if you say that, I will conspire to just make it a thing. All right, Nathaniel, the question to you about expectation of the character thing.
Honestly, I really expected that either Ozek would end up dying to keep someone else's character alive, or that I would have to utilize some more of my life cleric ability to keep people from dying, whether it's through clearing a curse or clearing a poison effect, or just my ability to just kind of halt damage on a person and then run up to defend them. And I have done a lot of healing, but I was really surprised that hasn't happened yet because everyone's done a pretty good job of like doing the combat and smartly.
Yeah, like that whole, because there are characters that had like some poison things. It's not like I didn't exclude those. That whole that whole encounter in the cove with the ambush and like all the like Lila would have some stuff. You're like, but you all did like the smartest thing of just like kiting everyone through the forest, getting them isolated, and that was perfect.
We can't fight a boat, Tony.
We can't fight an iron boat.
We can't fight an iron boat.
I don't have heat metal yet.
I had set it up because it's like, oh, it's going to turn, and then when it's turning, it's close to shore. They can hop on and like start fighting the guys, and so that was kind of
cool.
Yes,
I like the idea, but yeah, and from a character perspective, I also feel like it's really been nice how we've been able to kind of drip feed some of the information about the reclamation. And what the reclamation actually is versus what a lot of people who aren't part of it think that it actually is. Because I fully thought one of these sleepover episodes or like one of these like downtime episodes, somebody's character would just straight up be like, what's going on with the reclamation? We all want you to tell us about it. And I would be evasive about it, and then they would like really press, and then we would be explaining more about it. But so far, people have heard a little bit about it, and then just kind of been like,
I want you to know, Atticus has just been like twitching. He's like, at some point, like he keeps like subtly going up and being like, Ozek, you can tell me anything and I won't be mad at you. And then like backing away and just looking at him from around the corner.
That is like one of my favorite clips, because when that would like, there's like when you finish and there's just that timing of just like you have the pen, it just clacks a little bit and you're like, and it's like, that's perfect.
I think one of my favorite character moments that I've done so far in the game was when Ozek and Lex were reburying the bodies at the mansion. And then people were a little curious about his background because of his banter with this drow ghost. And he just told Lex straight up that he was afraid to tell people about the things that he had done because he thought that Lex, as a vengeance paladin, would then have to kill him. And I know that a lot of the players really enjoyed that when I dropped that at the end.
Yeah, that's good. She will, yeah, she would kill Ozek, but the candy apple guy is at the top of the list, apparently.
It's at the top of the list.
And honestly, she's convinced me. Atticus is there. He's a little sus now.
Well, I think the thing, too, is that also Ozek is a low intelligence character. Like, he's friendly, he has a high wisdom. So he's friendly, he knows how to talk to people and make them feel better, like with Lumina or with other people when they're feeling down, or with Atticus a couple times. But, like, he doesn't know enough intellectually to know, like in his mind, all he knows about vengeance paladins is what Lexus said. And since Lexus' like emotional lexicon of what a vengeance paladin is like a 12-year-old boy with a Punisher t-shirt. He thinks that if he admits that he did bad stuff in his past, that Lex would then immediately have to kill him because that's how it works.
Oh my god.
So that, as far as he's aware, that is how it works, even though technically that's not.
Oh, we need to do a character roast segment.
Oh my god.
with all the players here, and it's just a round of...
For Atticus, that's just any character he needs. They just get him.
All right, so y'all's turn, like burning questions about, the whatever GM-ness stuff.
Well, I have a question. Something that I've been thinking about a lot is we've been talking about this connection between Atticus and his family and this dragon who went missing a long time ago. Now, timeline-wise, it sounds like the dragon went missing before Atticus's family became involved with it, right?
It's a little ambiguous.
So the whole thing is that my family are elves. So
that's true.
Their timeline is
I keep thinking they're tieflings.
No, yeah. Their timeline is a lot long. Sorry to answer your question.
Yeah, no. This is good. They're paying attention.
No, so their timeline is a lot longer, but I think that's also
sense.
been somewhat intentional in the storytelling where like Atticus, to him, 1,000 years means something a lot different to everyone else. Like he's a lot closer to 1,000 because I don't know how it exactly works mechanically, but I think in the storyline, other than Atticus turning into part demon, he's pretty much still an elf. So I just don't have any of the racial traits of an elf, but I'm pretty sure he's under the impression that he's gonna live for as long as an elf lives. Like he already reached a certain age, is pretty much older than everyone else, but he doesn't say it because he's like.
Yeah. You take you take elf longevity, you take infernal longevity, you get the Punnett square out.
Yeah.
And you put those together. That's exactly how it
with
works.
The power of algebra.
Yes.
Atticus is born.
You guys should have paid attention.
Yeah. Did you
Punnett
even
square.
look at the parabola I just drew? Yeah. Get it together.
Okay.
Yes. But it's kind of set up to where there's kind of this implication where something that some kind of infernal agreement with Atticus's family and the vanishing of Etherian and all these other things that have happened that shaped the archipelago's future that then had the Imperiate come in and fill a power vacuum. Those are all somehow connected.
Okay. Well, where I was getting with the question is that this obviously isn't what happened after clarifying the timeline, but I was wondering if maybe Etherian, that's the dragon's name, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Etherian vanishing had anything to do with the cataclysm that destroyed the sun on the island in the first place.
Yeah, that could be.
Or him being sealed up.
Yeah, that could be. It could like all that stuff. Like I'm putting them all close together on this timeline, particularly to invite people to compare and get out the yarn. Now, What's the chain of events? Like which one caused the other? We don't know. But yes, they're all.
I got my exposition rock, so
yes.
I will know.
Yes, exactly. So there's an exposition flashback dispenser now.
I have to show it to you, by the way, because it is in Dwarven.
Okay.
It's in Dwarven and.
Well, all we need to do is just kill off Ozek because my backup character does have the archaeologist background.
No.
So then I can just figure out everything that's happened ever.
I mean, the best time to get Ozek killed, obviously, is part 2 of our season finale.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there will be all folks there. So it'll be your chance to face down the vampires. There'll be some high-ranking reclamation folks there. All these things will be there all at once. So there's opportunities there.
I'm so excited.
All right. Max, your turn for a question my way.
Let me think. I guess what were you kind of expecting us to do for this storyline? Like, were you really thinking that we were gonna kind of bust some heads and head into town, or were you kind of surprised that we've been slow and steady, like learning stuff?
No, I was hoping for like a more slow and steady thing. If anything, I think the curveball was how hard everyone's been leaning, like especially you have been leaning into the device stuff. That was something I was like ad-libbing some stuff when you guys were in that library looking at, you had found out they were all dead and you were looking through the records. I said, yeah, and there was like a couple some magical super weapon stuff that never went anywhere. I was like trying to imply that those were dead ends.
But it's not anymore. Now we have a way to kill vampires, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, and then when I started seeing that, you were pushing hard for that, it's like, yeah, I guess there's going to be, it's going to be a gizmo assembly kind of mini arc there, which is good because, like, I have this whole like arcanium thing that I've used in my fantasy setting stuff for the past few years, and it's just my made up kind of mechanics in a box for doing any type of magical stuff that's outside of like the listed spells and magical items. So it's like,
MacGuffinite.
yeah. Well, MacGuffinite, it's also kind of an equalizer to where if I have an antagonistic force or some NPC do some really powerful magical thing, it's not just some powerful magical thing that the players don't have access to. It is something where, oh, well, that guy had an arcanium device rigged up to do the blurbo thing. And then the players go, I want to learn about this device and also do the blurbo thing. And so that's kind of why that's there. And so when people were going hard for the magical device thing, it's like, okay, I have that just dusted off, ready to go. We can go that direction.
I liked it.
But yes, so I did.
Like that.
I did like the slow, methodical approach that the party's been taking, because that's kind of the tone I'm hoping to go for, where it's like, it is this big, like, Star Wars villain-ass base of these, like, spooky, ooky, authoritarian, like, almost, like, pulpy, like, rather than being, like, very, like, realistic in terms of, like, political organization. It's, like, pulp, powerful baddie villains, but still there's like all of this like care that needs to be done, and like how do you approach this? You can't just walk up to them. It's not just burning down one base or blowing up a building. There needs to be something longer and sustained. It's also like ties very much into Lex's arc as well. That was something like I was pulling clips from like the very early episode, and there's that sit down moment where NPC guy with a restaurant name, Vincent von Alsop.
Oh, yes. Vincent.
Yeah, those two are sitting together, and even he's like, what do you do after? It's more than that. Because that was something she had when we were at that, we were sitting down together after that very first recording. We're like, okay, we're doing this. This train is
leaving the station.
Yeah, this train's leaving the station. We sat down and like wrote down a bunch of like things. And obviously my note taking is just like word, arrow, point. And so for her, it's like revolution, exclamation point, what it means, question mark. And so it's good because we set that up, and that's been very much kind of this complexity
Complexity.
Oh, yes.
Hashtag.
Sorry. Yeah,
all right.
Please hashtag it.
All right, let's see. Question towards y'all's. Let me see here. All right. Dream NPC for Atticus. There has been a lot of thirsting for just randos that pop up.
Not randos. 3 people in particular, and they have a listing. So each one of them. I mean, Flock is number 1.
Obviously.
But mainly, and I do mean this, it is mainly because me and Monique have been doing this like really funny thing where we both are flirting with someone else, with each other's family member, and we both hate it, but we also know that we're flirting with each other's family member. And like we're doing the same thing as the other ones, so we're like in a weird like Cold War stalemate situation where she keeps being like, and Atticus' sister is hot. And I keep being like, that's disgusting. And then her dad says anything, and I'm like, and what else, Flock? And also, I love that you're not wearing sleeves. And she's like, what did you say? And we're both just like pretending to be deaf now. It's like been really fun.
Is Commander Flock is like being broken out of prison. He has not eaten and drank that much. He is in chains. And then Atticus is just like, hello there.
I just love it because it's like, it is fun to have a character, because I also think this is an important note of Atticus, is that he's never really expressed interest in people before. So this is also a show, like a sign of his comfortability, because you saw in the beginning, he wasn't like that. Like he was just like kind of grossed out by everyone flirting. Like when Gorla was like, are you flirting with me? He was like, what? Look at me. Look, I'm like, what are you talking about?
I'm obviously playing for the other team.
I'm obviously on a different team. Yeah, it was actually interesting. I almost made him asexual, like just because I was like, that'd be really funny. That he's like this like tiefling who's always wearing these like very like skimpy like little twink outfits, but he was just like, ew, to everyone. Yeah. But then it made more sense that he would be like just gay.
It's like, no, I'm doing this because of color theory and perspective lines.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, haven't you read any art theory?
Which he's doing that, but he's also into giant men.
But also, yes.
Yeah, and he is obsessed with, I think Atticus and Lord Tristan do have, like, I do think that they immediately were like, I like this guy, and he is so on the opposite team. and like we can't, like, it is not even enemies to lovers, it is like enemies maybe to acquaintances, immediately back to enemies. So I do think that Tristan is like one of my favorite right now, because Atticus having that moment where he's like, oh no, the bad guy's like cool and he's fashionable and I really like how he talks and it's nice to meet an aristocrat who doesn't hate me, like all of it. And he kind of gets it. He's kind of a demon too in a way. So I think that's who I would fall to the most. I think Tristan has kind of been my favorite NPC, which is not great since we're gonna have to fight him.
You're in your Lestat arc.
I'm in my Lestat arc. Yeah, he is. Yeah, to me, he is Lestat incarnate. Like, ugh.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I guess what would be Ozek's dream NPC? Either like doesn't even have to be romantic. It can be just like, you know, friendship or bonding or something like that.
I think a dream NPC I would love to see in the campaign would be someone who maybe has heard of Ozek from the Reclamation, because Ozek wasn't famous, but he was one of those people who, if you've served in the military or anything like that, you know there's people who are famous by word of mouth because they can't really be famous officially. And Ozek was one of those guys for the things that he would do and the things that he was capable of. And I think he feels a lot of shame about that, and he's grown and moved past that as a person, or at least he thinks he has. But I think that maybe amongst the rank and file people who still believe in the Reclamation, or maybe some of the newer recruits or the people who are like really into it because they like it, they probably still talk about how good he was at the work he used to do in kind of a respective way. And they'll bring up, in my mind, they would bring up stuff that he's done. Like they'd be like, oh wow, you like, you know, took on and killed all these people, and that's like really rad and cool. And to him, that's like something that's really bad.
It's like crazy, right?
That he like keeps him up at night and stuff. And so I think a character like that would be really interesting.
Oh, cool! Like there's some kind of nickname that he gets.
Yes, something like that, and that would maybe hint at
Sarge.
That would hint at something like related to the kind of person that he was, because we've talked privately about some of the stuff that he used
was there
to
already
do.
a nickname in the Discord somewhere?
No, I don't think so. I don't think a nickname, but like I did mention the stuff that he was like doing and what he was known for, and I've hinted at a little bit like when I talked about his scars like on his arm, and how a lot of scars on his arm were for people like reaching up and like trying to like get him off of them basically, and so people like, I think there's that hinting that maybe he didn't do a lot of good stuff.
Yep.
And
Crimes.
yeah,
Right.
and so that's part of the Reclamation, is like, unless you're boots on the ground in the Reclamation, you don't really realize what the Reclamation's doing, because all the people who are outside of it are in like their shiny armor at the Dwarven Temple in the capital, and they're like, yeah, we're reclaiming our history and like collecting our relics and things like that. In reality, it's like way worse.
Well, one of my favorite moments that you had in the campaign for me to look back on, in the moment I didn't really notice it, but like looking back on it, it was really well done.
Yeah.
When you met that guy that dwarf who was like wearing the armor,
The reclamation
armor, but he like didn't know who you were.
Yeah.
And you were having this really tense interaction, and I was like, as a player, I was like, oh, like I don't know what's going on. But then later, when we discovered more about Ozek and like the reclamation and what it did, I was like, oh, like I think that clicked with me and Atticus, where it was like, oh, like he was weird with that guy. I wonder what. Like, obviously he did something in the reclamation. So now that kind of piqued my interest, and then it like translated over to my character's interest. I thought that was really cool how you did that.
Yeah, no, and for me, I mean, at least for Ozek in character, that guy kind of represents the guy who basically recruited him. Like, that guy basically is, in my mind, almost like an ROTC guy, who he would go to like the temple and he would find people, kind of like Ozek was when he was younger, who like didn't really have anywhere else to go, and he'd be like, hey, you could just join the reclamation and make some good money, or like serve your homeland or whatever. And so when he saw that guy and he realized that they were doing that in the area, I think it brought back a lot of uncomfortable memories for him. And he didn't really talk that much for the rest of that session. Like he was very internalized after that, and I try to do that on purpose whenever he's upset, is like talk less.
I don't remember running in reclamation ROTC guy.
It was like when we first entered the city.
We went to the city, and I went to the temple to go.
I think
pay homage.
Okay.
And do my like cleric stuff. And there was a guy there who had like reclamation armor.
Okay. Yeah, I remember him.
And he was just like saying hi. He didn't. I don't even think he had a name.
He was just like, "Oh, you follow the same god as me." Like it was very. He was very like.
Okay, that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't think because he wasn't actively recruiting. That's what threw me off.
Yeah. In Ozek's mind, I think that's what he represents. It's less like that he was actually doing it. It's more that like that's kind of like who he sees him as.
Okay, that makes more sense. Because it's like, okay, because there's been a couple of people who've been like, some dwarven folks who've been implied to be part of the reclamation. I've also like peppered in others who maybe weren't part of it, because specifically the Sandian dwarven people of that island who are doing this whole reclamation thing. But there's other dwarves who have other cultural stuff they've come from.
Yeah, of course.
And so I'm trying to like make sure it's like filled out, so it's not just like that's Dwarf Island.
Yeah.
Trying to avoid it being that.
Well, I think what's really interesting too, and I think we brought this up before, but a lot of the reclamation forces are dwarves from outside of the archipelago. So San Diego was not originally the dwarf island, but now there's a bunch of dwarves there who have shown up, or are the children of the dwarves who showed up. So it's like there's a lot going on there.
Yeah. All right.
And it doesn't represent anything.
It doesn't represent anything.
Okay. Nothing.
Nope. Comment sections. I'm seeing you. All right. Last round of questions. We've been here a bit. Last round of questions to toss my way, and then we can just close out with any like overarching thoughts about things.
Okay. Yeah. Let me think. I guess my question is pretty simple. It's just like, which of the other islands did you want us to visit the most?
Which one did I want to visit? I mean, there's a couple of reasons why. There's a couple of islands I would like y'all to visit, but it's just for different reasons. And there's no like, oh, they have to go to this one. Like part of why, like I did that big post recently that had like a big breakdown was kind of just opening up the world for, next season to kind of expand the scope to like, maybe you guys are going to other islands, because there's different reasons. Like you go back to San Diego because that is where Atticus's family's company and factories are. Yeah. So like practical reasons for the party would be like that's where going to be the materials are, and there's also
my dragon.
Your dragon.
Materials. There's going to be manufacturing equipment for some parts of this device that Atticus seems to be intent on putting together. There's also some like other bits about like the society there. We'll finally go into who Joe Boxer is, and like what the lore implications for that are. So San Diego, the island of San Diego is one of them. There's obviously Sandia would be a great one to visit, just because I think
that's gonna be a sad arc.
Yeah. Well. Plus, like, plus I think Ozek said that he can't set foot on that island again. So like, what desperate gambit or what dire straits would drive the party to sail on up there? And then what would that reception be like?
Yeah.
And then I think the one, we were talking about Discord, Melody liked San Francisco just because it's got this neat just government structure of these just kind of nomadic, decentralized clans that are kind of more in tune with the earth and all that. So it's mostly like rangers, druids. It's also like...
Not for Atticus.
Yeah. But it'd also be like, that would just be an interesting one to like, plus it's largest in terms of just wilderness area to explore. So there's like a bunch of different islands the characters could explore for different reasons. And it's just like, what is the one that the party is interested in tackling first, and what do they gain out of it?
Well, I think my campaign question then, following up on that, would be, do you see us traveling by boat? Are we going to learn a bit more about the ocean space? Because right now what we know is that there's a lot of pirates and that the Imperiate don't go over the ocean. So I'm very curious why that is.
Yeah. Like I've been kind of deliberate in like establishing, even from like the beginning, like on the handout, when after we did our first filming and we're like, all right, we're going through this. That was one thing I kind of made sure to call out in just those brief couple paragraphs. It's like the Imperiate doesn't like seem to extend its reach beyond like the shores of its island. So
and I did bring up, like, I remember we watched them fly and they like stopped at the beach.
They stopped at the beach
and like went around it or something weird.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm writing that down.
Yeah, that was weird.
And so that was like, they're vampires. They can't go over water. Or maybe the power of their weird doomsday mountain only extends so far. Or maybe it's just a choice they're making because they like want to maintain some kind of political balance with the other islands or something.
Well, they're also all barefoot, so the ocean is
obviously
colder, so they might get frostbite, and their toes are hanging out just underneath that little skirt they're wearing. It's
100% piggy protection.
Yeah, at this point, they're losing so many toes. They have no insurance.
Yeah, we've touched on a little bit on the ocean already. Like, we know that there are caverns in the kind of inner nations Underdark area to connect the islands together. And so, in theory, if you guys didn't want to take a boat, like you could go down into the ruins, go through like some cool tunnels, and then it's a whole underground adventure. Mira can, probably guide you through those, okay?
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore. I can't go in the water. I can't go underground. Everything's muddy and icky and wet. And that's Atticus.
Atticus digging straight up into,
with the spoon.
into the ocean.
I gotta get out.
Yeah. And we've kind of established that there's like a couple of like merfolk and other types of populations like that who do like call the sea their home. So that might be something to explore as well. In addition to just whatever naval geopolitical shenanigans are happening on the surface with all these pirates and naval trade things.
Well, that was kind of my biggest curiosity with it, is like, if all these islands are their own separate nations, you would think they'd have their own separate navies, or like at least small fleets. But it sounds like most of the security in the water is provided by these pirates. So it's like, why?
Yeah. Well, it's probably that the islands don't have, it's not that they don't have their own navies, it's just that because the oceans effectively become a sort of no man's land, that it's easier for them to keep their navies closer and have more of like a defense, like more of a defensive posture than it is for them to be like going out and doing stuff. And then because this Scorched fleet has been around for a while, so it's just over the decades, if not centuries, because I don't think Captain Flock was like the first captain of this fleet, that as that protection racket has just become more entrenched, it's become less of a protection racket and more of like, something resembling actual governance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
All right. So I don't think I have anything else to throw y'all's way. Y'all got anything?
Well, I mean, I hate to ask two questions in a row, but just real quick.
Okay.
I mean, I guess, how do you two feel like the overall arc has gone? Do you feel like it's gone in a direction, both as a player or a DM, that you were kind of expecting? Or do you feel like it's gone a different direction?
I've had a great time descending into madness.
Yeah.
I did not expect that for Atticus. Honestly, Atticus was kind of written as just like this, woohoo, yay, look at me, I'm the jester. Also, I have fireball, don't worry.
Yeah.
But as his character did more damage, I think also Atticus, I really changed how I played him when he killed a person for real, where he was just like, oh, right, like, that was a living soul, and like I am a different person now. And also like how much he wants to protect these people when he's never felt that way. I really Atticus has kind of become a very, I won't say serious character because he's still kind of a joke.
Yeah,
but
he's still
like,
goofy as hell.
He's still goofy as hell, but like there's like this kind of secret seriousness to him that I didn't have for him originally. I just had him have kind of like a sad backstory. And yeah, so I don't know. I've really enjoyed the arc. I think that we've also had a lot of really fun arguments, which I think is really interesting. It's kind of crazy to do that with a group that you don't really know.
Yeah.
To like have like serious conversations. Like I remember there was a moment where Atticus, and he didn't, like I as the player didn't feel this way, but like, and Atticus didn't really mean it, but when he was like, well, why don't you guys do something? Like he handed that knife to Lumi and was like, okay, well if you guys want to do it this way, then you guys have to kill someone because me and Lex have killed everyone. And then that moment was when it really shifted for me, where I was like, oh, like Atticus has like kind of been holding a lot in. And it like shifted the dynamic a little bit where I felt much more connected to all those characters on a personal level as a player and as a character. So that's what I really enjoyed, yeah.
Restate the question one more time.
I was just going to say the direction of the campaign. I
Yeah.
know that it feels like we've had a lot of little heel turns throughout the campaign, not in a negative way, but just like, is this going direction you thought? When you started the campaign, did you say Vampire Gala, Flying Castle, Rescue Flock?
One of the worst, one of the worst attempts at recruitment I've ever seen in my life. I was so moved, I couldn't stop.
So when I plan out campaigns, like after the first couple sessions where I'm not just like, doing aspals, I'm like, okay, we're gonna be doing this for a while at least. Time to lock in and like actually think about like an arc. I don't look more at like, oh, these things need to happen. Like I said, it wasn't intentionally meant to be vampires. It was just like a mysterious mist, because it's like, all right, Ty, flock into it, because it had been this thing for like the first couple sessions where Lumi was like, oh yeah, my missing dad. It's like, that seems important to this character. I should probably throw that in somewhere. It's like, okay, vanish at sea, and then, and so a lot of the specific like occurrences and things that happen are being, just kind of made up for like what's kind of interesting, or I said that, I need to make it consistent, or we made this joke, I want to make that joke serious, how does that tie in? But what I plan is more kind of like the more themes and like kind of the emotional arc, like this idea, like the title is called Fall of the Imperiate, so it's this like that's kind of gives this North Star for like why are these characters all together? But then as you kind of zoom out, the world is bigger, things are a lot more complicated, and so there's still that goal, but then there's all these moral questions of like, how, is it like, when do we kill this guy? Because obviously there's a point where it's like, I don't want it to be like, oh, we can never kill ever, because we're all we're a party of Batman and DC comic people. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Like, you folks are killing characters at some point here. But it's more like, where is that line, and having the characters debate that. And so having these heel turns, having, things zoom out and be complicated, that is kind of the like overall arc I was envisioning from the start. Like, you have this goal, Fall of the Imperiate, it's in the title, boom. And then as you learn about the world and as the characters learn about themselves, those things become more complicated, while the goal itself doesn't go away, obviously. Like, the Imperiate is still bad. I'll spoil it for you. There's going to be no plot twist where it turns out, oh, the Imperators were the good guys all along. We're not doing that.
No, we're not doing it.
They're bad.
Oppression is oppression. It's always bad.
Exactly. They're bad people.
bad.
They're bad people, and it wouldn't be an awful thing if you killed those Imperators. Like, full stop. I'm not going to be like, oh, it's all shades of gray. I'm not that kind of storyteller.
We need to tell you people this because we've been on AO3. Okay.
We know how you feel.
We
about
know
villains.
archives of our own. We see what's in there.
And we've also seen mass talk. Okay, we know what's going on with you people.
Yeah.
You people.
But yes, so in terms of specific events, like lots of twists and turns, lots of things where it's like, I didn't like the whole, Ozek suddenly decide, like, getting more comfortable and like, I'm going to be deceptive and try, like, taking things and lying and disguising myself was hilarious because it's like, okay, he's not convincing anyone. How do I salvage this situation while still making it like they're not stupid or like they're not deliberately pulling their punches? And so it's like, okay, their deal was struck and Tristan is still interested in seeing where this is going. So he's given them orders to not just instantly gank them on the spot.
Yeah.
So short answer to this long ramble is like the material events of the campaign. It's like, yeah, it's gone in all sorts of different directions. I thought y'all would be doing like something else, and then other things come in. Even guest characters like come in and change things sometimes, and that's really interesting. But the overall like thematic arc and like kind of the feel has mostly been intact, and that's exactly why I GM campaigns. Is I like the unpredictability of all this stuff and all the, like throwing out this world building, chum in the water, seeing like what people bite on, and then like just watching all this chaos happen and managing that chaos while still adhering to something that feels like a cohesive story.
What do you think was the moment that you had to pivot the most for?
Oh, what?
In the story. When, like, so what did we do that you were like, oh my God, I have an idea of what it might be, but...
Why was it the fish?
And why was it the fish?
So the fish, I mean, that's why Gorla has been so nice. Even if, like, she and Lex didn't end up dating, she was so nice to have around as an NPC. Because if you remember the first time we did the fish bit, she was just literally like, all right, let's go. Just like... kind of like she like making the character just blunt on business, like I don't know what's going on, man. Let's just do the thing.
Yeah.
Was like really good for that. I think the biggest pivot had to do. You kind of saw it if you watched the episode, but there it was actually the pirate guest episode with Loy, Saleh, and everybody. There was a magic item they had. I'm like, oh, it'll be cool if that MacGuffin thing falls to the party when they guest star. But Loy is like, no, I'm keeping this in the backpack. It's like, okay. And then I'm like, okay, sure. And he even called it out. I was like, yeah. I didn't see that coming, did you? It's like, no, I didn't. He called out correctly. And so that was a big thing where I go back. It's like, okay, I need to pivot because now something else is going to happen because that magic item isn't going to be with the party. So that was so. That's one pivot. And then let me see here. Obviously, it's not something the party did, but rather it's just by nature of the studio. I know we've talked about this off camera, but on camera, like, especially when we were running sessions later, like we would just reach points where we're running out of time, and like someone will literally walk out from behind the thing and tell us to go. And so that whole moment where Vincent like sacrificed himself for y'all to escape, and everyone's like, no, Vincent!
Yeah.
That was not some masterful narrative stroke like, I just reintroduced this NPC and now he's taken from them.
Yeah.
It was oh crap, Melody is like doing this thing with her hands, we gotta wrap this up. And so it's like, okay, he's gonna do like, shout to the sky and they're gonna swoop on him instead, and we gotta get you to the harbor and then get you out of here. That's probably where I've had to do more pivots than anything specific players have done, has just been adapting to the format of this 1.5 to 2 hour format, which is like the hardest I've ever done, the hardest I've ever run for, because normally you sit down and play D&D, how long? It's like 4 hours?
4 hours.
Yeah, like 4 hours.
4 hours, yeah. like the Dark's D&D one-shots, we usually, when we sit down and plan out the stories, we usually aim for 4 hours. And even that was a big deal for me, because I'm like, oh wow, we have to like do multi-tables, and it's got to all fit in 4 hours. So this was just like, all right, hard mode. Because at first I didn't start with a specific time, it was just vibing it out. But then it's like based on the studio time when we get in, when we're all available, and just when they start kicking us out, we usually, and also just like editing something that's longer than 2.5 hours,
Is a lot.
yeah, it's a lot.
it's a lot.
So it's like hour and a half, maybe like hour and 15, hour 20 is kind of like the sweet spot. But like if people keep going and I don't want to stop them and there's interesting stuff, like we can go for 2 hours. It's fine.
And there's always interesting stuff when we're at the table.
Yeah,
we're at the table.
yeah. But yeah, so the timing pivots have probably been more of a prevalent thing than specific player action narrative pivots, because I don't like hard code and write out too much of the story ahead of time. I have a couple of beats and vibes, but I mostly focus on, like I said earlier, kind of just that sort of sense of theme and emotional resonance rather than specific beats. Because whenever I do set up a specific beat, it's like, all right, magic item is going to fall to the party. Then of course the player isn't going to do that. Like just the idea of having the intention and not saying, like, don't say it, don't write it down, just having the intention puts this chaotic aether out into the world that causes people to not do the thing.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking too, I think that Vince episode was the first episode that we were like, we went from like group of murder hobos to like an actual D&D party.
Yeah, because that was like 2.5 hours, because that was also the first sleepover.
Yeah.
There was so much that went into that episode.
That set up all the boat stuff we did afterwards.
Yup,
we had
that
all this
was
character development.
So much boat.
Where Lumina got big.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
All that stuff
and it was
happened.
also this moment where it was like, we as a group kind of all decided, we didn't even say it out loud, but I don't mean to speak for you, but we all kind of decided that, all of each, like everyone's problem in this group is now also my problem. Like I was like, okay, we have to protect Lex's family because I've been there. I'm like, something's going on with Ozek and we really do need to figure it out. All of us are taking care of Lumi. We're gonna get Lumi's dad back. Up to the point that we've argued about, like, don't forget, like, we're committing a coup. And then, me. And then Atticus is a problem.
Yes. Yeah, I think like going back, that's why if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel,
Which you should be.
You should be.
The first video that you see at the top is that episode, because it's got that whole goofy little introductory bit that recaps those first 5 episodes, and then you kind of get into the other stuff from there. And so it covers all this stuff, and it kind of it's that episode where the party kind of starts hitting its stride in terms of dynamics and this sort of resolve to like move forward and finish this mission or whatever.
Yeah, and there's always an episode like that in every single D&D podcast
Is
or
there?
D&D show. There's always like the first couple ones where they're like figuring everything out, and then like episode 3 or 4, or maybe sometimes episode 5 is when it clicks.
Yep.
And everyone figures out what to do.
And it did take us just a little bit.
Well,
No, we were pretty close there, yeah.
Yeah, it's different to play tabletop at home or even with friends in like a game store or whatever, and then play it in front of a TV camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was kind of the challenge that sparked this whole endeavor. It's like, I've always wanted to do the actual play camera thing, because I've GM'd for long enough. It's like, that's definitely a different format, because it's not just like I am telling a story for the players. You're also telling a story for an audience, which means like you can still do the same stuff, but you can also do different things in terms of format, which is why I like having like the all guest episodes, because then it's like the viewers are still like watching a part of the story. And so they're seeing this story a little different, but at the same time, now it's different players at the table. So you're moving between these different players, but it's still kind of this same ongoing story, kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah. In conclusion, running an actual play is hard. It is very weird. Take all the difficult things you've encountered running for your friends at a table, amplify that and add film production, video editing, social medias, and but it is worth it.
It's so fun.
Because it's just, you get to see You get to experience the story coming to life at the table with people who I didn't know before we started this, and ended up being the coolest people ever. I still don't. There was a YouTube comment on one recently on our second episode. I don't know who it was. I don't know if it's one of your friends trying to gas you up or anything like that. But they're like, "Oh wow, where did you find these angels?" I'm like, that's why I'm thinking
The streets.
The streets.
Well, no, I did a "Who rescued who" bumper sticker kind of comment.
It's just a picture of all of us at the kennel, like shaking the bars, all like in the stacked cages, like for the cats. Like, we're all like,
the employee is like, "Yes, and we've got these 4 players right here."
fights. And I do.
But yeah, it's just been a different experience. It's harder, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. All the players, you two, Monique, Natalie, and our guest stars have all been incredible people, and I've never felt happier or luckier to have this type of community come together to tell this type of story, even if the story is mostly being made up as we go.
Yeah.
Which is like the fun of it.
That is
Yeah.
the
Love
fun of it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I feel like that's the strength of doing any sort of tabletop RPG is not necessarily the math part of it, although the math can be fun, but it's like just doing the storytelling together communally.
Yeah. I think in the last talk episode we did, Monique talked about the dice are kind of she quote it was a Brandon Lee Mulligan quote with like there's a river flowing. I gave a much inelegant description, and she's like, "Oh, that's like what this much smarter, more charming person said." I'm like, yeah. She didn't say it like that. That was how I interpreted it.
You're like, no, I put those words in her mouth. No, I love that though. Yeah, I feel the same way, where it's just like there's just something about getting to tell a story with a group of people, and everyone being, I don't know, everyone having like a stake in it that just makes it feel more alive somehow. And yeah, I've been really feeling that with this game. Even with like, not even with, just like, I felt so lucky to meet all of our guest stars too, because, you know, we built like a rapport as a group, and then we have these wonderful people come in who are very funny and very talented, and they just like slide in without an issue, because I think we've hopefully created an era, an essence. What is the word?
I hope, yeah,
An aura. Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
I'm hoping that's what we did. It's like,
Yeah.
it's something we're doing, right? Because I don't know. It's like these people show up. I'm like, all right, well, you know, sometimes you have to manage conflicts and de-escalate situations and resolve things. It's like everyone's just chill with each other. I don't know if I can't even take credit for that or anything. People are just kind of doing it. So
We're just chill guys. Is that
maybe
joke
that's
old?
it.
Does that make me chopped unk?
I don't think our videos reach that young of an audience.
Let's hope, yeah.
All right. Mwah. Good night, Albuquerque.
Good night, Albuquerque.
Gamers,
Good night.
Twitch, YouTube, if we end up posting, I'm 50-50 on Twitch, honestly, nowadays. YouTube, all the places that you may or may not be watching this. Good night. Yeah, technically posting TikTok.
Good night, Albuquerque.
Good night.
Night.
Sleep
I don't know which
well.
camera I'm on.
Oh, stay awake.